Alright, howdy. I apologize ahead of time for talking on this, but there are some things on this amp I think have to be explained rather than just playing it. But this is the Egnater Rebel 30 combo that I picked up the other day. It is a very cool little amp. It's a 1x12 30 watt combo in a very small box, but does not sound boxy, as you'll see later. It has some cool features I want to point out. As I said, it's a 2-channel 30 watt amp. It has a channel 1, which is clean, which has volume, treble, and bass. Also it has these bright and tight switches, which I'll demonstrate. There is a channel switch button, which takes us over to channel 2, which has treble and bass. Also has a middle, which is very handy for shaping the overdrive tone, and of course a gain knob over here. Also has bright and tight switches, and I'll demo those. Some of the cooler stuff on the amp over here, you have play, standby, and silent. Play is your usual on position. Standby is self-explanatory, and silent turns off the output to the speaker, which is nice. You can use that if you're just sending stuff straight to a PA, or if you're going into a mixer and don't want the amp sound in the room. It also has two kinds of power tubes, EL84 and 6V6, and it has real-time blending of those types. You can actually do this while you're playing. So it's kind of similar in a way to the simulcast you find on a boogie, but you can actually switch them in between and blend them. Also has continuously variable 1 to 30 watt power on each channel, and Egnater's literature says that that's great if you want to dial in the 1 watt sound. It's not much quieter, but you get less headroom and it distorts earlier. So on the back of the amp, there's an effects send and return. There's no adjustment on the level, so you kind of have to be diligent about putting stuff in there that will work right with that level. There are reverb controls for each channel. It's a digital reverb, and it's not super deep. So you can see I've got it turned off on channel 2 and all the way up on channel 1, and you'll hear what that sounds like. You have an XLR record line out, which is nice for sending to a mixer or to a PA. 4, 8, and 16 switch on the back, and speaker jacks. And you can see I'm connected to the internal speaker there. There is a foot switch, which you can get, which controls the channel and the reverb. I don't have that, and the 2-button Marshall switch that I have does not work right on it, so they must be doing something different. And then finally, and this is kind of a weird thing, they actually have the main on-off power switch on the back, which is weird. I mean, old Fenders have that, but they have both power and standby on the back. So I've had a problem already with this, having a tendency to leave it on after I switch it into standby, which isn't critical, but it's kind of a pain. So I'm going to start out on the clean channel. I've got a Strat with humbuckers just to show that it does a decent clean sound even with humbuckers in it. It is indeed a very, very loud amp, so I'm going to have it on pretty low power here. So now you're going to see what the tight switch does, which you'll notice that takes a bunch of the boominess out of the bottom end. I think they think it's more useful on the overdrive channel, which also has its own bright and tight switches, but I actually kind of like it on this one too. And then of course glorious effect. And if you take it all the way over to the 6v6 tubes, sounds an awful lot like a deluxe reverb. So that's a really nice clean channel, and you're hearing the reverb on full, so that's all it does. It's not like a Fender, which will absolutely kill you above about 4 on the reverb. That's about all you get out of it. Now on the channel switch, we'll go over here to the overdrive channel. Bottom end, a little more mid. 6v6 is a little smoother and more mid scooped. I kind of like it about over here on this channel. You have volume, and obviously it gets a lot louder. I'll turn the power down to 1 watt. And you notice it doesn't really get any quieter. If I go back over here to the clean channel, I also notice it doesn't get any quieter, but turn the volume all the way up, it doesn't get nearly as loud as it would if it were on the 30 watt setting. So that's cool if you want to get kind of a champy kind of sound out of it. On the clean channel, you can definitely hear a volume difference. And you hear it will overdrive plenty if you turn it up. It's a very nice kind of classic sound to it. Back over to this channel. You can cut the mids. Gain kind of mostly down. Or all the way up. Tone controls do a lot more on higher gain settings on this one. Let's see what else. The bright and tight. So it's hard to hear, but it does cut a little bit of the low end, make it a little bit tighter. And then the bright. Much less effect on this side. Much more effect on the clean channel. So I'm going to turn it back over here with the tight on. So it's a really cool little amp, capable of a lot of volume, and it does not sound boxy to me in the room here. I don't know what it comes out like on the phone, but really versatile little amp, and you know, definitely one of the better pickups I've had. So I definitely recommend checking one out if you get a chance. Thanks.